It's Wednesday, April 19th, and it's the day of our crossing from Abaco to Eluthera. We have been in Abaco since March 3rd, since we sailed across from Florida. Now we're going to move on and explore Eluthera. We've got a 53-mile crossing via the Atlantic. The weather's looking good. Chris Parker's sent his final confirmation of the winds, and it looks favourable to us for a good crossing. We're getting the boat ready, checking the engine, getting the sail cover off, attaching the halyard, all that kind of stuff. And hopefully we are going to be ready for a nice crossing. It's going to take about 8 hours, I think, Dan? Yeah, about 8 hours. And then we're going to anchor either close to Egg Island or Royal Island. So we'll see which of those it is. Okay. We departed our anchorage just fine. The wind forecast continues to look favourable. We are heading out towards the cut. We're heading north up to the cut, and in a minute we'll turn right to go east, heading out into the Atlantic once again. Okay, so we got the sails up, and the engine is off, the prop is feathered, and it's nice and quiet on board. We're seeing about 13 knots of true wind. Of course, we're traveling downwind, which means that it's very calm on the boat. Our own speed subtracts from the true wind to give you the apparent wind, the wind you feel as you move along with the wind. We're making about 6.5 knots, which is great, 7 knots, which is great, heading towards our destination, not having to zigzag all over the place. So it's working out pretty well so far, and it doesn't look as though we're going to get any rain either, so that's pretty nice. So we're going to try a bit of an experiment with fishing today. We're going to try something called handline fishing, which cruisers like us use, I guess. We're not very good at fishing, we're just learning, so probably going to be a disaster, but we'll see. You can see that the line has a couple of turns in it here to attach to a bungee. There's about 50 yards of 300-pound test, and then at the end that goes in the water, there's a lure here. This is a cowbell lure. And there's this device just ahead of the lure. It drags along in the water, making a bunch of noise to attract fish. So they'll think, oh, what's that? Is that a flying fish? Can I go and eat that? So that's called a birdie. So that's what we're going to try. We're going to have this thing dragging along behind the boat from one of the stern cleats. And if we catch something, we have to pull it in by hand. So we've got some gloves here. Got a nice big knife, we've got a gaff, and we've got a squirt bottle with some vodka to squirt into the gills. So let's see if we get anything. So like I say, we're new at this and maybe we're doing it completely wrong, but you can see this is how I've rigged it. The line is attached to the bungee here. The bungee is actually taking the load right now. If the bungee stretches out to maximum length, then this loop in the line, 300-pound test line, that will then be the thing that is taking the load. If you look out, you can see the line going back there from the stern of the boat. You can see the line going back, and way in the distance, I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up, but way in the distance there, where is it? You can, there it is. You can see the birdie there going crazy in the water. That is supposed to attract fish, I don't know. And then like another 10 feet behind that is the actual lure. It's a skirted lure. It creates a tremendous column of air bubbles behind itself. It also has a rattling sound as well as the visual appeal of the skirt. So hopefully that will enable us to get something. We'll see. It's the first time we've done this, so you know, not very hopeful. We've got a gaff ready over there. We've got a line cutter ready in case of emergencies. We've got some gloves, so we'll see. Hey Dan, how fast are we going?
6 knots.
6 knots. Is the engine on?
No.
Isn't that marvelous?
Yes.
Are some of these waves a bit, are we surfing on them?
Yeah, they're pretty big. They're taller than me.
Well, we have our sails up. We are on a broad reach, occasionally a beam reach, and the sun is shining. We're about halfway between the start and end of the Atlantic portion of today's journey. The seas are pretty empty. It's beautiful out here. We've got our fishing lure dragging along behind us, although so far we've had no indication of any interest from actual fish, but that's okay. This is our first attempt. It's just generally very, very nice. As we cross from the Abacos to Eluthera, we've had a chance encounter with the cruise ship Freedom of the Seas, which is actually a sister ship to the Brilliance of the Seas, a vessel that we used on our trip around the world in order to get across the Atlantic. So we're approximately familiar with what that ship would be like from on board. Anyway, nice to see. Well, it's the next day, and we did indeed make it from Abaco down to Eluthera. We are anchored just south of Royal Island. We came through Egg Island Inlet, where the currents can be strong, but we managed to hit that more or less at slack tide. We anchored last night at just south of Royal Island. We're going to spend a bit of time here just recuperating. That probably sounds a bit pathetic to experienced sailors, but we're going to spend a bit of time recuperating, and then we're going to maybe go and explore Spanish Wells. The journey was really cool. In case anyone's wondering, we did get a mahi-mahi on that yo-yo line, that hand line fishing setup that I made. We brought it all the way to the swim platform, and it escaped the hook right at the last minute. It's too bad. It was a beautiful fish, just the right size for 2 people, but it did get away. So the encouraging thing about that is that at least I know I'm on the right lines with this setup that I've got, which is good. So anyway, yeah, we're at Eluthera. We're going to explore Spanish Wells next, probably, and then onward down the bight of Eluthera to explore the coastline there.